Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Just like that, we are back, and we are live, and we are back in studio. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you. Happy Friday morning, Friday, December 8th, 7 o'clock. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Friday morning. We welcome you into the show. A lot to get through, a lot to recap, a lot to look forward to, especially coming into the weekend. Don't forget, Drew and I will be live tomorrow morning, 9:30 to 11:30. We're going to be at University Kia. Going to bring you a special Saturday edition of Talking Ball on Saturday. And then also make sure you circle your calendars. And I know this is the third time we've said this. Please circle your calendars for the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Eagle Insulation Holiday Christmas Party presented by Talkin Heating and Air. Our good friends over at Talkin Heating and Air, along with Eagle Insulation, helping make this happen. We had to move the date again, December 20th, not December 14th. So circle your calendars for December 20th. I promise this will be the last time we change the date. This was not our fault, but you can circle your calendars for December 20th. 5 o'clock still. Bubby's Diner is still coming. They're going to bring all kinds of good food. Here's how it's going to work, though. All you got to do is bring a toy for you. If your family's coming, bring 2, bring 3, bring 4, bring 5, bring a whole sleigh full of toys. Head on over to Flow Indoor Supreme Sports there right off of Drake Avenue. Come on over. The place will be yours. At 5 o'clock, you come in, you bring your toys. The place is yours. So you can, well, heck, you can even drop the kids off. Let them play around for an hour or two. Go shopping at the mall if there's anything still in the mall. I don't know if there is or not. Haven't been in there in a while. But you can go over there, do your little thing, eat some Bubby's Diner food. Going to be good food. But anyway, that's on December 20th, not the 14th, December 20th. All right, so where do we go here on a Friday? If only we could let this whole Florida State playoff thing die down, if we could just forget about it, that'd be great. Because we've already know who the 4 teams are. They're going to be playing in the college football playoffs. We know that. We know the bowls. We know everything that's going on. If we could only let it die and be done with. But apparently we can't. Because Tim Brando keeps talking about it, and oh, does he keep talking about it. Others keep talking about it across the country like it's going to make a change. I saw that the Florida State legislator, not Florida State, but the state of Florida, I should say. The legislation is preparing $1 million of set-aside money so that if Florida State wanted to sue, they could, to help them with their costs. It won't go away. But we will hear from Tim Brando here in a minute. We will hear from Nick Saban as well. Nick Saban joined the Pat McAfee show each Thursday during the college football season to talk about the upcoming game and talk about his team. Yesterday, Nick Saban was in Chattanooga doing a little college football recruiting, and he once again joined the Pat McAfee show to talk about everything going on. What a day it was yesterday inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. Madison Academy taking on Mobile Christian. It didn't have the outcome that we wanted. Mobile Christian comes away victorious in the Class 3A state championship game. But what a day it was to be down inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. Had a fantastic time down there. But congratulations, Bob Cotsey and company, on a great run. But anyway, we digress and we go back to the college football playoffs. And I mentioned that it just won't go away. And I guess it's because we don't have college football. Now, we do have Army-Navy on Saturday, or tomorrow, I should say. And that game is a game unlike anything other. And it speaks volumes for itself. But Tim Brando just won't let it die down. Earlier this morning, while we were preparing for our show, Tim Brando was on another show in Texas. And these were the comments that he had to say. And he is not backing down from anything. Here is Tim Brando.
So, would Alabama give Michigan a better game, perhaps even win the game, more so than perhaps Florida State? Well, given the circumstances and with Jordan Travis out, possibly, maybe even probably. Does that make what the process is right or correct or a process filled with integrity? Absolutely not. Integrity was lost. Florida State was, in fact, wronged, and they did everything that was asked of them. They even won games with a second-string quarterback and a third-string quarterback once Jordan Travis was out. This wasn't even a vintage Alabama team. It's an Alabama team that, without a prayer on 4th and 31, doesn't beat a mediocre to bad Hugh Freeze coach Auburn team. That is what it is. But as I mentioned, that media manipulation, which carried through not only through the game day show on Saturday, but through that farcical selection show, where it was just, I mean, here's the deal. It has to be Alabama, regardless. And the only person that speaks up on behalf of Florida State is Booger McFarland, who covers the NFL more than he does college football. That speaks to the problem. With one network, one narrative, and one powerful commissioner that, by God, was going to get what he wanted, and that was an SEC team in it.
Well, like I say, Tim Brando, the only thing, farcical is his hair and his career, because it's in the crapper. He's trying to keep himself and make himself relevant by continually tweeting and beating a dead horse and getting on a radio show.
Yeah, it's like, when do we stop the narrative of Florida State was wronged and just realize that we have the 4 teams. These are going to be the 4 teams. Next year we're having 12, so let's just move on. I know we play it, and I did this because what he said was direct shots at Alabama. And
why isn't there a shot at Texas? Just because they beat – you know why? Because they beat Alabama head-to-head. Because Alabama really has a better resume than Texas. The only thing is they lost to Texas. They played in a better league, played a better schedule, but there's nothing said about Texas. It's always about Alabama because Tim Brando hates Alabama. He's always hated Alabama. He's always despised Alabama. Like I told the guy on X, I was like, you remember years ago you called everybody Bama Bubbas and you said, go ahead, just hire David Cutcliffe. Your program's not what it used to be. And, of course, then he shut up really quick. He didn't have a whole lot to say.
Earlier in that interview, and it was a rather long one, so we couldn't play the whole thing.
Right.
He said that he made a reference to the Alabama-LSU game of the century and how it set up for an embarrassing national championship rematch that was a farce then because the system was flawed.
That's how stupid he is. That was by far the 2 best teams in the country. Everybody knew it. Who cares that it was an overtime game that was 6-3? It was the 2 best teams. You want to know why he thinks it's a farce? Because LSU got the hell beat out of him. He was in the stands in a purple shirt with his family thinking that LSU was going to win it and be the greatest football team of all time, and he had to swallow crow and do his radio show the day after, which was one of the most glorious things I've ever listened to in my life because he had to bow down to the king, Alabama. Tim Brando is a farce. He is a joke, and he is a clown, and he wouldn't have the balls to come on this show. But I wouldn't want him anyway because he's a pissant.
He also went on to say, too, I think he has a problem. I mean, obviously not obviously. He just has a problem with the SEC because he also said, too, that the committee didn't do his job when we had Alabama and Georgia meet in the national championship again. But what he failed to realize is that that playoff system was 4 teams. Alabama had to win to get to the title game. Georgia had to win to get to the title game.
Well, was it a farce last year when 2 Big Ten teams got in? Did he say anything about that? Of course not, because you want to know why, Scott? Guess who's on Fox?
The Big Ten.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he's pushing this narrative that the SEC on ESPN.
He is a joke. He is a has-been, and he is irrelevant, and he is a clown. And I would say all that to his face, or if he came on the radio, and then he'd probably just hang up.
256-576-4977.
I have hated that guy, and I'm going to say hate. I have hated him since I was a kid because he's always thrown shade at Alabama. He's always been anti-Alabama, even when he covered the SEC. He loves to hear himself talk, and that's all it is because he loves himself. He loves him some Tim Brando. Okay, that's all it is, and that's why he keeps going on all these shows and keeps continually, posting on X and everything else. And like I've said before, Danny Cannell, and Booger McFarland and Barstool Moron can all go have dinner because they're all idiots. Every one of them, and I have the right to say that. This is the United States of America, even if we are run by an idiotic president. I have the right to say it. He is a moron. All four of those guys, it's like the Four Stooges. They ought to all just freaking have dinner, man.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Let's get Kevin in from Alabama first. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Good.
How are you?
So, I've been listening to this station for a while. First-time caller. I just moved to Alabama this year, but I'm a Florida State guy. Obviously, I'm upset, but I get the whole picking an SEC team. But what I don't understand is why isn't people talking about Michigan and that whole game? I just don't understand how all this can be swept under the rug.
If you're going to suspend a coach for 3 games,
well, really a couple of suspensions.
The first one was a Michigan self-induced suspension.
Right.
That one, okay.
Yeah.
The second one was because the commissioner of the Big Ten suspends him for 3 games, and yet that is not a factor in anything. Because
what Kevin's saying is because Michigan has been caught cheating, and they admitted it because they suspended him, why are they not under any scrutiny? You want to know why? Because guess who Tim Brando works for? Fox. And guess who Fox broadcasts?
Big Ten.
Exactly.
And guess who wants a piece of the college football playoff pie in 2026 for television rights?
Exactly.
Fox.
Of course. And so he's not going to mention that at all because that doesn't fit his narrative. Because he's FOS. I can't say what that stands for, but that's what he is. And if he'd like to come on, I'd come on XM radio and just do an undisputed with him.
Full of sugar?
Yeah, exactly. And then I could say exactly what I thought of him and what he is.
So I got one more question.
Yeah.
Next year when we have the 12-team playoff, do you think if Jordan Travis is healthy, do you think they will be part of the 12-team playoff?
Well, he's not coming back though. He's moving on. He doesn't have eligibility left, and I hate that for him. I've even said this on the show. A lot of circumstances went against FSU late, man. If he's still healthy and they play in the ACC championship game and they beat Louisville 35-6, 42-6, whatever, then they're probably going to get in because they would have been very impressive to the committee. They would have been undefeated. But again, when he went down, it was just devastating to them, and it opened the door for others. And then it would have come down to an Alabama-Texas debate, and then probably Texas would have won because of the head-to-head, even though I've said this, I thought Alabama's resume was better than Texas. And then when Brando and then would have had an aneurysm, just go back, as Jamie Christensen, former Alabama kicker, has done, and others in the media, that, hey, don't forget 1993 when your Seminoles won their first national championship. They won it. I had no problem with it, but they lost head-to-head to Notre Dame, but Notre Dame lost the next week. And then they vote, and then there was no 4-team playoff,
right.
And so then they were voted ahead of Notre Dame,
that was a
who
poll
they had
era.
beaten head-to-head. So
it was a poll
again,
era.
some of these weird things happen. That worked out for Florida State's favor. Then this time it did not work out for Florida State because of injuries and because I didn't think they played as well down the stretch. Now I'll just say this, and I'm going to be transparent, Kevin. I didn't think Florida State was as good as Alabama or Georgia, even with one loss. But again, if you're undefeated, and see, I don't think Michigan is as good either. And nobody's talking about that just because they were ranked in the top 2 to 3 all year. And, and never dropped below that. I thought the Big Ten was overrated.
I mean, if you're going to shake up the poll like they did, why not put Washington number 1 in the whole thing?
I mean, and I thought down the stretch Alabama was better than Washington, too, just by the eye test. But like I said, you can take you can dissect it, and you have your narrative. And I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about anyone. You could say, well, Alabama only beat Arkansas by 3. They what Brando said, they had a miracle play against Auburn and all that kind of stuff. You could say that, but then of course you can also say Michigan barely got it by a mediocre Maryland team. There's a lot of close calls. Florida State had a close call against Boston College. I mean, those happen during seasons, but I just think overall I feel bad for Florida State, but it was just an unusual year in that usually it's pretty cut and dried that there's 4, maybe 5 teams in consideration, but this year there was more like 6. I mean, yeah. Georgia had a big-time case too, but of course you don't hear Blambeau and all those guys talking about that because that would mean 2 SEC teams, and they're not talking about Ohio State because it's 2 Big Ten teams. But you could tell by the end of the year there wasn't going to be 2 from the same conference getting in, and I do feel bad for FSU, but I hope they play the Orange Bowl. If they decide to bow out of the Orange Bowl, that's one of the most Bush League things.
They better not do that.
That'll make them look so bad. Well, I mean, did we stop working and stop living in this country when the election was stolen? And yeah, it was. Okay, so go ahead. But no, we didn't. We've continued to live even if the president ran the country into the ground. And so look, if you just because things don't go your way, you don't take your ball and go home. You continue to grind, and that's what Florida State needs to do.
All right, let's get a break in. I know we got full phone lines, but we got to get a break in. When we come back, more Talking Ball, 256-576-4977. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a working structure fire on Cranston. That's off Old Monrovia, west of Providence, Maine. Got fire and rescue, HIMSI, HPD, all involved in that one. Got Maston Lake and Blue Spring, an injury accident. 5 to 565 southbound to eastbound turned out to be a no injury. And they're clearing on that wreck on Taylor Circle off Apple Grove in Morgan County. Had a vehicle hit a tree there. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with the 2030 Fast Track Weight Loss program. More information at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Injuries at work happen all the time in Alabama. So do motor vehicle and slip and fall accidents. If you're hurt at work or injured in an accident, I want you to call my good friends at Pond Lehocky Giordano. That's Pond Lehocky, Alabama's injury law firm. They got your back just like they've got mine. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Score big deals at Baumhauer's this football season and order from our Inflation Bites menu. Try our Buffalo Wing Special with fries and a complimentary beverage for only $9.99. And what's football without a cold beer? Our pitchers of Yingling and Yingling Flight are only $7.99, served all day, 7 days a week. And huddle up, football fans. Sign up today for our free NFL Pick'em contest at Baumhauers.com for weekly prizes. Baumhauers, legendary fun and legendary food.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, Eagle can insulate your home and help you save money with fiberglass, spray foam, and cellulose insulation, and can help you decide what's best for your project. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
If you're the kind of value shopper who waits to the end of the year because you know that's when the deals are the best, it's here. And there's no first payment for 90 days. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford's Make the Holiday Bright sales event. And we've got the best selection of new and certified pre-owned Fords we've had in years. Right now, get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 72 months on 23 F-150s. America's best-selling truck for 47 years. 2.9 on F-150. And Woody Anderson Ford has over 100 F-150s to choose from. Great finance rates and no first payment for 90 days on all new Fords. We have financing as low as 1.9% for up to 60 months on 23 Explorer, Escape, and Bronco Sport 2. It's our year-end sales event, the best time of the year to buy, plus no first payment for 90 days, your good credit through Ford Motor Credit. This offer ends December 30th. Come by and make your holidays bright at Woody Anderson Ford. We hope to see you soon.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Coming up in a little bit, Brian Pasek will join us. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're switching gears, switching sports. Madison Academy falls in the Class 3A state title game yesterday, so our football season has come to an end, and now we will change to basketball. John Shulman will start his weekly visits today as we gear up for a little UAH basketball. That'll come at the top of the hour. Let's go back out to the phone lines. Mark from Spring Hill is with us. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey, morning. The only thing you didn't say is that he needs a lobotomy. So I'll put that in there too.
That's left nothing to be. I mean, you don't even have to mention that because, like I said, I've detested Tim Brando since I was a kid because all he ever did was take shots at Alabama because I guess he had PTSD from growing up as an LSU fan and getting his ass whipped all the time.
Well, you know, the opposite of him is Keith Jackson, the late Keith Jackson. I wish he were alive.
Yeah, don't even mention him in the same freaking sentence, man. That's actually disgusting and really, to be honest with you.
No, I wanted to commend to Keith Jackson. He's a guy I remember growing up that, him and Frank Broyles, probably the two best play callers in college football history. Really enjoyed them back in the day. And it made me think of them, actually, as you were talking about this nut. When you look at what good is and great, and then you look at a turd like this guy, it makes you appreciate the ones that we had in the past that, just were honorable, and that sort of thing. But what I wanted to ask you guys is, how come they put Alabama in the Rose Bowl with Michigan when geographically it would have made more sense to put Texas and Washington out there and put Alabama, Michigan in the Sugar?
Because Michigan, as the number one seed, gets bowl preference.
And they
get Michigan gets to pick where they want to. They don't technically get to say where they want. They get bowl preference. So Michigan, number one seed, they chose Rose Bowl as their preference.
Wow.
Alabama has had that before. When Alabama's been the number one seed, they've gotten to pick their bowl preference. And Michigan
2016 is a good example when they played Washington in the Peach Bowl in Georgia.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm surprised. I mean, I know that Michigan
Michigan would pick the Rose Bowl all day. They're going to pick the Rose Bowl all day because it's tradition. That's where a Big Ten team. Yeah, that's for a Michigan in the Big Ten.
That's right.
Yeah, that's tradition all day. That's kind of like an SEC team or an Alabama going to the Sugar Bowl traditionally. That's what it means to Michigan.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you look at it, then Texas has the best route in terms, if you want to look at fans and home field, advantage. I mean, you got New Orleans and Houston if they were to win, and I do expect Texas to make it to the title game, and Alabama too. My last thing was this. I mean, Michigan may want to go out to Pasadena, but in terms of fans, I guess. You think that Alabama will have more out there or Michigan?
I think it'll be probably 60-40 Michigan, 55-45, but I think Alabama will be well represented. They certainly enjoy tradition in their own right, and Alabama has a lot of tradition in their Rose Bowl, as everybody knows. That's how they kind of came to prominence. Because the North didn't even realize the South played football until Alabama got out to the Rose Bowl and whipped some West Coast teams and some teams from the Little Ten. So until Alabama did that, the South didn't get their rightful place as football kings, which they are. And again, I don't blame Michigan for choosing the Rose Bowl. It's what they've always been associated with. I thought they'd be the number 1 seed, even though I'm still not sure they're the best team in the playoff. But they'll get a chance to prove that. I think this is the 4 best teams. Brando can keep screaming from the rooftop, but he just sounds like a Democrat when Trump won the election, 4.5, 5 years ago when he was in the White House, when they were screaming, or really I should say, I guess it's close to 8 years because he spent a 4-year term. But when he won the election unexpectedly in 2016, if you remember, there were just people screaming from the rooftops and they wouldn't shut up. And so that's basically what Brando is.
All right, let's go out to Jeff from the Borough real fast. Good morning, Jeff.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? Before the state seriously is thinking about boycotting. I don't know how many players are in the transfer portal on their roster right now that they're talking about this Monday or Tuesday right after the parents came out, talking about boycotting, not even going. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. They've got nothing to prove if they beat Georgia. If they play in that game and get land blasted, then Drew comes on it. Well, they didn't belong to the playoff anyway. And if they win, well, they belonged. That's what the bottom line is. So, I mean, that's far.
Even if they win, they didn't belong, Jeff.
That's right. And that is true. We'll just go ahead and give it to Alabama.
But I'll guarantee one thing on this show. Georgia, it wouldn't matter if Florida State went and got Charlie Ward back in a time warp. They ain't beating Georgia.
Well, I'm saying if they get blown out, you're going to say they don't belong. So, what's the difference? I mean,
I don't think you can say that now, Jeff, because all the opt-outs and all the guys going to the NFL draft, that team that Florida State's out there, and even the team that Georgia brings to the Orange Bowl, not going to be the same team. They're not going to be the same team that played in the SEC title game or the ACC title game for that fact. They're not going to be the same. It's going to be a shell of
compete
themselves.
And stop being a
think about it, Drew. The 4 people you talked about, that's their opinion.
You got to compete,
You're
man.
entitled to them, just like you're entitled to yours.
I know, but you're supposed to compete in this country, Jeff. I mean, people were picking the Lady Vols to beat your Middle Tennessee Lady Blue Raiders, but they won. Go compete, man. Go compete. Compete.
That's the problem.
Compete.
We've got a great tradition.
Compete.
We know what our
compete.
We're going to
compete.
Compete. We ain't scared of nobody.
Compete. Compete. Thank you for hanging up, Jeff. I win.
I feel like Sesame Street.
What's
the word of the day today?
What is that? What was that old? Hey, what was that old Atari 600 game where it was just like volleying back and forth?
I felt like a record was stuck.
Yeah, it did feel like a record was kind of skipping, didn't it?
Just needed to. What is it? Bump the table.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. We got the table.
Or just go move the needle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. So let's get one more in. LSU Lou is with. Nope. How about Ryan? Is Ryan there? All right, Ryan's there. Good morning, Ryan.
What's up, Ryan?
Hey, good morning. So, that was good.
Hey, that was a good one. Hey, good morning. That was competing.
Hey, so this is a little trivial pursuit because I don't know the answer. Maybe y'all do. So I was at the game in 2014 or was it 2015 when we lost early on to Ole Miss at home.
2015, yeah.
2015. So the bigger question is like, when that happened, everyone was obviously a little down, a little depressed, and obviously look what happened when they won it all. So the two questions: the team that we have now versus the team then that won it all. Comparison of those two, and then who were the other 3 teams in the Final Four or whatever for that year? Like, was it harder then or harder now, you think?
Well, I mean, it was for Alabama. It was Michigan State, who they destroyed in the Cotton Bowl in the semifinal, and then Clemson. Was in the other semifinal.
Yep.
And I want to say because Ohio State missed the playoff that year because Michigan State got in because there was a little bit of controversy. Then I'm trying to remember who Clemson beat in the semifinals in 2015. I think it was Oklahoma, but we'd have to check that because I wanted to say because it was not a Pac-12 team because Washington got in that year. Or got in, the next year in 2016 that Alabama, we just talked about, Alabama beat in the Peach. It was Oklahoma. That's what I thought. Clemson beat Oklahoma, and then Alabama beat Michigan State 38-0, and then Alabama beat Clemson in a classic game. I mean, it was a great game. Yep, yeah. And Deshaun Watson played outstanding. Jake Coker played outstanding. Derrick Henry, the Kenyon Drake kickoff return. It was a great football game. But I'll just say this: people want to say, Jeff, was calling in saying that people will, if Florida State gets whacked, where everybody's going to say, well, they should have never been in anyway. Well, if Alabama loses to Michigan, what do you think Bram Blow and everybody in the country that were so outspoken,
Booger
McFarland, they never belonged there anyway. Why were they even there? Florida State would have beat them. This really shows what an embarrassment the committee is. Blah blah blah. Which hopefully Alabama will shut everybody up by clubbing Michigan over the head, but we'll see.
Yeah, you would say that this team though has more talent and is stronger than that team back then. That's most likely, right?
Well, I don't know about that now, because I'm just going to say this. I've always said about the 2015 team, they're underrated, man. I know they lost to that Ole Miss team in that wacko game that would, everything went Ole Miss's way. But I think this team, they're pretty equal.
Yeah.
Because Jake Coker doesn't get enough credit for how well he played down the stretch. Jalen Milroe has kind of been the same way. Coker was a guy that only started 1 year. This is the first year for Milroe. Coker got benched. Okay? Yeah. Coker got benched in that Ole Miss game. He did not start.
Remember, the expectations for Jake Coker coming in was he was going to start his first year after
coming. And he couldn't beat out Blake Sims.
After transferring in, he's going to be the best quarterback. Yeah. He doesn't even play his first year, or doesn't start, I should say, his first year there at Alabama. Yeah. Then he takes over the next year.
Yeah. So there is some similarities. I think it's got to play itself out. I would still give the 2015 team an edge right now, honestly, but it's going to depend on the playoff run and if Milroe can keep stacking. But I appreciate
Ryan,
the phone call,
Yeah,
Ryan.
I hate to do it to you, but we are short. We got to get a break in.
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to get a break in, come back, and then take another break. But we'll be right back. More Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Cloud cover builds through the course of the afternoon, though temperatures are going to climb into the low 60s. We're dropping into the mid-50s as we head into the overnight, early into your Saturday morning. During that time period, we could get some isolated showers across the Tennessee Valley. The best chance for rain is going to come during the middle and later part of Saturday morning and then stick with us through the duration of Saturday afternoon. Temperatures on Saturday afternoon going to climb into the mid-60s. We're talking about the chance for some stronger thunderstorms as we head into the overnight, early into your Sunday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Still working to clear a wreck, Maston Lake in Blue Spring. That one reported as an injury type. And we got a full assignment fire on Cranston. That's off Old Monrovia, west of Providence, Maine. Got a lot of fire equipment there. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Eck in the Jordan Lane, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Are you thinking about home improvements? Well, use your equity now and refi later. Or use your equity to eliminate consumer debt forever, then refi to a lower rate and shorter term when rates drop. North Alabama Mortgage can also help you if you're thinking about buying an investment property or a second home at the lake or the beach or in the mountains. We have great programs to make that happen. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
What's better than 2 end-zone sports bars? 3 end-zone sports bars. And we have you covered with our original location on University across from Red Lobster, in Jones Valley on Cecil Ashburn near Carl T. Jones, and our newest location in the Midtown District on McMurtry Drive opposite the Target Plaza. All locations feature the NFL Sunday Ticket, Tuesday half-price burgers, and Wednesday $1 jumbo wings all day long. You're never far from the end zone. End Zone Sports Bar.
Welcome back. Talking about 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and I mean very, 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 very short segment here because Brian Pasick is north of the border.
Yeah, he's in Canada.
His passport is good.
He has a passport. I don't have one.
I have one.
There you go.
I have one, so I could have.
You have one, Bandy? He does. I have
Canada.
no. I'm the only one in the place right now. Doesn't have a passport. I guess.
Well, I guess we cannot take you to Canada and get some Tim Hortons.
Yeah, we can. What's Tim Hortons?
Tim Hortons is a donut coffee shop in Canada.
It's
now,
in Canada.
They've got some in Buffalo and Detroit
right.
and stuff because it's worked its way around there, but it's not in anywhere. I mean, it's
not in the South.
It's on the East Coast a little bit. There's some East Coast ones.
Yeah.
But Tim Hortons is in Canada.
I gotcha.
So you can get some Tim Hortons.
Yeah, we couldn't have driven the Arthur Mobile in Canada either, but it was great.
I tell you what, I got in it this morning. And by the way, big thank you to Arthur.
Yeah,
Seaman,
we're going to thank him again,
Kia.
yeah.
Actually have a Kia to drive this time. I got a Telluride. And it's got heated seats and a heated steering wheel.
I'm going to tell you, it'll ride. I'm going to tell you that.
Move. It'll move. I looked down and I was like, holy crap, we better slow down.
Heck, man, I thought I was in the Bandit Trans Am there for a little bit.
You didn't even feel it, though.
No, not at all. You're like 92 miles an hour.
What? Hypothetically saying. What the hell are you telling everybody 92 for?
Well, I didn't even realize we were. You're the one that said it. You're like, well, dang, man, we better slow down here. We got the hammer down. I was like, wow, this definitely doesn't feel like that. Oh.
Yeah, we put the hammer down.
Yeah, we did.
For like a second. I was like, whoa, didn't even have it in sport mode.
Yeah, we didn't.
All right.
Got great gas mileage, though.
No, it did. It did, and we had a great time in Tuscaloosa. It was a great time.
It was good. It was.
Radio's not supposed to do sidelines.
Well, I
Forget
mean, that. We hate that Madison Academy didn't get the results that they wanted to finish 15-0, but they had a great group of kids, man. That was fun to follow. We were honored to carry their entire season and able to get to Tuscaloosa. It's so hard to do.
No, it is. It is.
What a great playoff run. And again, hats off to Madison Academy and hats off to Mobile Christian. They made history. It was their first championship. Ronnie Cottrell was very, very hospitable. After the game, we had a chance to speak with him on the field as well, and just some class folks. It was great to be a part of it.
Great to be a part of, and Rev, got it by you.
Yeah.
Got it by you, Rev. All right. Got to get a break. When we come back, Brian Pasick, north of the border, going to join us. Talk some Alabama basketball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Still working to clear a wreck, Maston Lake in Blue Spring. That one reported as an injury type. And we got a full assignment fire on Cranston. That's off Old Monrovia, west of Providence, Maine. Got a lot of fire equipment there. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Eck in the Jordan Lane, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-306-8158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-306-8158. That's 800-306-8158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-306-8158. Again, 800-306-8158.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms of varicose veins include pain, swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715-7151 to schedule your free screening. Go to bestveincarehuntsville.com.
All right. Coming up here in just a little bit, Brian Passick's going to join the show from Canada as we talk about Alabama basketball. College basketball getting ready to take center stage. And for Alabama, we talk a lot about the fact that they had a two-game stretch there where they took on Ohio State and didn't look good in that one. But a lot of it was Ohio State. Ohio State played really good in that game, and there were some challenging stretches there for Alabama early on. It is safe to say that their next 2-3 ball games for Alabama could be and probably will be one of the toughest stretches that any team will see this season as of the rankings right now. Now, if these teams fall down, who they're playing, and it'd be like, all right. But right now, the stretch that Alabama is about ready to endure is one of the toughest stretches that any team
if not
will see
the toughest
all season.
I know. I mean, when you're talking about the next three opponents, I mean, these teams are all in the top 10 of the net rankings. You're talking about Alabama going to Toronto to play in Zach Edey's backyard. Zach Edey, of course, as we know, is the reigning National Player of the Year. Purdue is unbeaten. This is the number one team in the country. I mean, they're a tremendous basketball team.
No, they've been beaten. Northwestern.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's right.
For the second straight year, Northwestern.
Yeah, I forgot about that because I keep forgetting because the Big Ten starts their conference play almost earlier than anyone.
They did. They've already got a couple games in.
Yeah,
one or two. I mean, you played in one or two conference games. It's not much, but yes.
That's right. Northwestern and Chris Collins did get them for the second straight year, and so again, it's one of those things where. But Purdue has. I guess let me correct myself. They have been number one. They were number one. Before getting clipped by Northwestern in that Big Ten game. But again, they've been very good. They've already won some very impressive games. Their schedule has been difficult, and again, they're trying to do what Virginia did. Virginia lost to a 16, and then the next year they won it all. And they were able to get a national championship for Tony Bennett. So Matt Painter trying to get Purdue back to the Final Four for the first time, trying to win it all. And this is a kind of a made-for-TV game in Canada for Zach Edey. You got to admire Nate Oates for playing it because he didn't have to. Because, again, this is going to be a very, very difficult matchup. And Alabama might be without arguably their best player, one of their two best players, I think Aaron Estrada. But Grant Nelson, who, according to Nate Oates yesterday, has not practiced since he left the game early against Arkansas State with that lower leg injury.
And is it a 12:30 tip?
The tip time Central for
It says 12:30
for Alabama and Purdue. I do believe it is an early afternoon tip.
So it's
not
today at 12:30.
Yeah, so it's
wow.
So it's an early tip for Alabama and Purdue, and so they're going to it's going to be a huge challenge for the Crimson Tide, no question about it. And but again, they've got a 3-game stretch where they're going to be at Creighton, and they're going to also and then they're going to be in Phoenix against Arizona. So it's a very difficult schedule for Alabama.
All right, so he's north of the border, getting himself some Tim Hortons early in the morning.
Well, we know he has his passport, and that is Brian Pasick, the longtime color analyst for the University of Alabama. Brian, thank you for taking some time over there in Canada, in Toronto. You and Chris Stewart are going to be on the call for Alabama and Purdue. I know you've been doing this a long time. Is this as tough a 3-game stretch as Alabama's getting ready to enjoy that you've ever seen?
I think it is. And by the way, Roger Hoover and I will be doing this.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
Why? Why, you ask? Because some of us got our passports on time.
Oh.
And some of us didn't.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Chris Stewart.
Oh, man.
Look,
Mr. T-shirt salesman.
Let's get out of here.
Trying to get it.
He couldn't get out of here.
He's got to get in here to get out of here. Get in here.
Oh wow.
boy.
Okay, so it'll be Roger Hoover.
Any opportunity to give Chris a hard time about this, I'm taking it.
That's good. That's good. Well, you are north of the border, and it is Alabama and Purdue. This one is going to be. You mentioned challenge, and obviously, when you mentioned Purdue, I mean Zach Edey's the challenge that you face with Purdue.
Yeah, I mean he is such a unique player. The consensus player of the year typically doesn't return to college. Things are a little different now with NIL and opportunities to stay and make money. We've seen that the last few years, but he is 100 plus pounds, can do so many different things. I mean, he's really skilled. I mean, he's huge.
Yeah.
He kind of, reminds you of like Yao Ming. I mean, he's just like
good comparison.
An enormous human who's good at basketball. Like, you see a guy that's 7'4", and 300 plus pounds. You think, okay, like he's just like strong. He's just a big, strong guy that can shoot, can rebound. He's become a much better defender. He's blocking shots at a high rate. He's just hard. I mean, it just changes the way you play, and you're gonna, you got to try to push him out. You can't let him catch it too deep. But good luck with that. With as big and strong as he is, how they play him, and it's almost he's a 25-15 guy that is getting 3 blocks a game or close to it, changing a bunch of shots. He's just a unique player that you don't see very often. So I'm looking forward to watching him. This 3-game stretch is unbelievable. I mean, it's Alabama under Nate Oates the last 2 years coming into this year has had the nation's #1 overall strength of schedule. And I think that'll be 3 straight years. And the good thing about college basketball, and it almost hurt us in college football, but it ended up not hurting. Strength of schedule in college basketball always, I think, if you have a good team, which typically Nate Oates is going to have a good team, it just helps you. And you can't look at the records. You obviously you want to win these games, but I think no matter what happens, Alabama will come out of this obviously challenged. I think they'll get better from it, and I think a big reason why this program has won championships over the years in the SEC regular season and tournament is because of the development of what they do in November and December leading up to conference play. The SEC is one of the best basketball leagues in the country. Even though there's been some ups and downs in the non-conference, this is, I think, the deepest league in college basketball, and they're going to have to be ready once June hits for the grind of the SEC. But there is no grind like what we're about to see starting tomorrow in Toronto.
Well, and I like what Brian Hodgson said in Alabama's last outing. Alabama wins 89-65 over Arkansas State. He said, look, Nate Oates and these guys, they're 6-2, and people are on social media acting like the world's ending, but they lost to Ohio State and Clemson. They didn't lose. He said that's what Nate Oates does. He plays the toughest schedule in the country. And now this 3-game stretch, when you've got you've got Purdue on Saturday at 12:30, a 12:30 Central Time tip-off in Toronto, Canada, a team that had been number 1 in the country, a team that many people think is on the short list for Final Four and a national championship run. And then in a week, you get Creighton on the road in Omaha. And then December 20th on a Wednesday, you're going to Phoenix, Arizona. That's just very, very difficult, but it should get you ready for conference play. Like you said, it should give Alabama some now, certainly they're going to have to play well early on in SEC play. But, again, to me, you want to get at least one of these games to impress the committee, but you're going to be evaluated a little bit differently when you play a schedule like this that Alabama's playing. This has been as difficult as I can remember. And even Brian Hodgson made the point to talk about how good that Indiana State team was, and you saw them as well.
Yeah, I mean, this team has already played a challenging schedule. Right now, Ohio State and Clemson both in the top 25, and both teams that are not just good, but kind of tougher matchups for Alabama. I mean, the teams that Alabama has had trouble with are teams that kind of play similar styles to Clemson and Ohio State, kind of big, strong, grinded-out physical teams. So, a lot of coaches would shy away from that style. Well, Nate Oates does the opposite. Okay, we have trouble with those teams. Let's play those teams because, yes, we want to win in November, but it's more important to win in March in the SEC and NCAA tournament.
Yes.
So how do you prepare your team for that? And you play teams like Ohio State, like Clemson. I mean, the challenge, but those are the types of teams he wants to schedule. Another example is what's coming ahead. I mean, these 3 games, I mean, you look at the Ken Palm percentages, and you've got three top 10 teams, obviously. So 3 top 10 teams in the Ken Palm, but 3 top 5 teams in the net, you look at just the difficulty of game according to the analytics, and there's nothing that compares to these games individually. I mean, as far as difficult, I mean, Purdue has been the number 1 team in the nation for a few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and they dropped one, so they're down a little bit. I say down. But, I mean, they're not number 1 in the country in the AP and coaches currently. Creighton, who's lost 1 game, really is they're so good at home. I mean, they're a top 5 caliber team, a national championship contender on the road. Arizona in Phoenix. Arizona currently the number 1 team in the country. All those away from home. I mean, it's really incredible, this stretch. And, I'm trying to think. I mean, even in NCAA tournament runs, I don't know that Alabama's ever played a stretch like this. I mean, it's really incredible. But I mean, you see excitement. They're excited about the challenge. I think if you're a competitor, this is what you want to do. I think a lot of guys come to Alabama for a lot of different reasons. I mean, player development, win championships, chance to make yourself better and go on to the NBA, the NBA success that these players have had. But part of that is playing I think you sell the nation's toughest schedule year in and year out, at least the last couple of years, and I think that'll be the case this year.
So
the players on this team is they're excited to play a schedule like this, and I think no matter how it comes out, they'll be better from it. But what do you say we go win 1 tomorrow against Purdue?
Yeah, so they got tested against Ohio State and Clemson, two really good basketball programs. Brian, what did they learn? What do they need to do? Because it's different playing those than playing some of the lesser ones. What does Alabama need to do? Where do they need to improve on to go out there and compete with a team like Purdue?
Well, there's no secret. I mean, this team needs to get better on the defensive end. I mean, this could be one of the best offensive teams statistically, efficiency-wise, and all the numbers when it plays out. I think we could be talking about this team as the best Alabama offense maybe ever. I mean, Alabama under Nate Oates has done unprecedented things with what they've done on the offensive end. But this is his best offense. I mean, it's been 1 and 2 in efficiency all year long. Defensively, I think last I saw was 70 on KenPom from a defensive efficiency standpoint. If this team could get well within the top 50 defensively with what they're doing on the offensive end, I think they have a chance to be special. But if you're not guarding at a high enough level, there's going to be ups and downs. We saw that a couple of years ago. I mean, Alabama was top 5 in defense in the Herb Jones, John Petty championship year. Then we're in the 90s, the year that there were so many, great wins, tough losses, ends up being a 6th seed, losing to Notre Dame in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And then last year, championship team, again, top 5 in defense. Offense gets the headlines. There were great offensive players on all of those teams, but they know the recipe to success is being really good, consistent on the defensive end. And I'm optimistic that this team can get there because they've got guys that are unselfish, that are tough, that want to be good, that want to win, that are serious about getting better where they struggle. And I think the difference is you don't maybe have the number of really good individual defenders who just show up on campus and you know what, those guys are just really good defensive players. You've got some, but you don't have the numbers that the Herb Jones team had, that last year's team had. I mean, a guy like Noah Clowney was, first-round draft pick. The big reason why is what he did on the defensive end at 6'10". I mean, he wasn't Herb Jones, but he was close. Brandon Miller could guard. Charles Bediako, a rim protector. Around the basket. That was such a good defensive team. The Brandon Miller, the SEC Player of the Year and second overall draft pick. I mean, what he did on the offensive end got people's attention, but that guy couldn't guard. This team has capability of doing that. You've got the want to. You've got some guys who have improved on that end. I've seen them improve over the course of the last few weeks, and I think that'll continue. And once we get into SEC play, I hope, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about one of the most improved defensive teams in the country. And if that's the case, this team's going to win a lot of games.
Well, we look forward to the call tomorrow on Saturday. It's going to be Roger Hoover and Brian Pasek on the call. 12:30 tip-off as Alabama takes on the Purdue Boilermakers. Brian, have a great call, and we appreciate the time as always. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Always enjoy it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brian. Let's get that break in when we come back. John Schulman, UAH head basketball coach, joins us next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Take the guesswork out of your holiday gifts. OmahaSteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and save an additional $30 with promo code VSIN. OmahaSteaks.com.
Duffy drops back, throws back in the end zone. Henry reaches up. He's got his 4th touchdown catch as the Patriots add to their lead.
The action on the Patriots radio network, 21-18, the win over Pittsburgh last night. New England snapped a 5-game losing skid. Bailey Zappi threw 3 first-half touchdown passes, 2 of them to Hunter Henry. Ezekiel Elliott had 140 yards from scrimmage and caught a touchdown. Mitchell Trubisky with a touchdown pass and a rushing TD for Pittsburgh. They've lost 2 in a row and dropped to 7-6-0 third in the AFC North. The Steelers were favored by 5.5. New England paid plus 215. The over-under was 31. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you are. Welcome back into Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And always good when we can read this one more time. SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. They are a proud training provider of the UAH Chargers, and they invite you to visit that Saturday sports clinic for all those sports-related injuries tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Visit 4715 Whitesburg Drive, the SportsMed Saturday Sports Clinic. SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to care, dedicated to providing lives, better lives, I should say. They are the official training providers for one UAH Chargers. Alabama has their hands full tomorrow with Purdue. UAH has their hands full tonight with Lee.
Yeah, it's a huge rivalry. But like Coach Shulman said in the postgame after the home game against West Alabama, what better way to continue to get better and then to lock in than to play a rival on the road that you know is going to take your best effort, no doubt about it. And certainly West Alabama's got a very good basketball team, a veteran team, but UAH is a team that we believe is going to get better as the season goes on, and that we know that they know what it's going to take to get where they need to go, but they have to start that tonight. And again, what better way than to play someone? This is a huge rivalry. These are two teams that there's no bones. They don't like each other very much.
No, they don't.
But they compete against each other, and competing has been what this team needs to do. And what we've been talking about, what's been the mantra of our show this morning is compete.
Compete.
Exactly.
It's our Sesame Street word of the day.
There we go. But we're going to talk some UAH basketball with Coach John Solomon, courtesy of our great sponsor, SportsMed Surgery and Spine Center. Coach, good morning.
Morning. How you guys doing?
We're doing good, Coach.
Good.
I mean, how has the team responded so far? I mean, I know you were passionate about it. I was listening to that, in the car after that ball game, and you were very, very passionate about what needed to happen for this team to continue to get better and to learn from that game against West Alabama.
Listen, guys, as y'all know, like sports and athletics is hard.
Yes.
This is a hard. Most people fail. Most people fail, but they don't do it in front of people. Most people fail a test and nobody knows except them and the teacher, all right, and whoever they tell. In athletics, sometimes you fail and you fail in front of people, and we don't fail a whole lot at home.
No.
I think we are something crazy, 53-6 at home in 4 years. But we got our tail ends whipped by West Al the other night. West Al was really good. They're in some people's polls, they're ranked in the top 25 in the country. And we didn't play very good, and we couldn't stop anybody, and we couldn't get a rebound. And so this week has been hard, and it's supposed to be hard, and life's hard. And we talked about it the other day. Someone had a final, and I was like, listen, guys, the class that you're going through playing basketball here at UAH is just as important teaching you about life as any of these classes you're taking, because you're going to have a bad day at work, Scott and Drew, and your bosses are going to rip your tail, and you're going to have a bad show. And just be honest, how are you going to respond? Are you going to sulk about it and say that wasn't a bad show? That my bosses don't know what they're talking about, and if you do, you're not going to be working there long. And so, what we've done is we've gone back and taken a very realistic view of ourselves, and we've made some changes, we've tweaked some things, and we've just got to get better. Now, the problem with the GSD and our schedule and our conference schedule is Auburn, Alabama football game is like the third Saturday of the season. And do they play Auburn, Alabama football the third Saturday? No, they play them the last Saturday. But we're stuck playing really good people in early December and in November, and you're not at your best. And you shouldn't be at your best. If you are at your best, you won't be at your best in January, February. So, listen, 2 years ago we were 1-3 in the league and ended up going to the NCAA tournament, winning the GFC championship. There's 1,000 ways to get there. You just got to figure out what this team needs to do to get there. This is a different team than last year's team. Every year is different. You just got to figure it out.
Defense starts on the defensive end, right, Coach?
Well, it starts this. We talked about it yesterday. Little kids camp that we have here in June and July. Here's what we tell the kids. Listen, stay between your man and the basket. That's the biggest key. Hey, Tommy, stay between – hey, Jimmy, stay between your man and the basket. And it sounds simple, but it's the most important thing in basketball, period. Stay between your man and the basket. And it's easy to say, and it's really hard to do. We recruit offensively. We don't recruit defensively. We recruit offensively, and we figure it out on the other end. And that's what I've been pretty decent at my whole career is on that defensive end. Right now we're 12th in the league in points given up, 10th in the league in rebound margin, 12th in the league in three-point defense field goal percentage. I mean, we are at the bottom of our league, and I remind them every day. And we talked about it yesterday. There's a saying that I use: if you're not overly talented, just get up earlier. And I've never been overly talented, so I just get up earlier, which means I outwork people. And we're not overly gifted athletically that we can just lock down and guard people. So we got to try harder, and we got to get up earlier. And that's what we're going to have to do defensively. Max really helped us last year defense. He was a great communicator. And then whatever shot that we didn't do a great job boxing out on, Chaney would clean that up. And we don't have either one of those guys. So we're just going to have to figure it out, and we're going to have to collectively do it as a unit. But if you don't, last year we beat Lee at Lee. I think we've won 7 out of 8 against them. But last year we beat Lee at Lee, and they scored 55 points. People are scoring 55 points and a half on us right now. So we've got to do a much better job defensively. We're trying to find what this team, I love playing man. That's what I've based my whole career on, and different non-negotiables defensively. If this team can't be a great man-to-man defensive team, well, I'm going to be really hard-headed if I stay and continue to play man. So we may have to sprinkle in some more zone. We just got to figure out the best way that this team can be successful.
And, Coach, I know after the game you're not pleased with the rebounding. Is rebounding simply effort and desire? How do you become a better rebounding team?
Well, it is to a point. It is to a point. They had a load inside, a guy named Terry Durham, who's a man. And our starting 5-man, we start Dane Harding at a 5 because he's unbelievable in our offense. But he's had 3 shoulder surgeries, and he's not the most physical presence inside. So he can try all he wants, but last time I checked, if the other dude is bigger, stronger, more athletic, he's going to have a tougher time in there. But we're not putting it all on Dane. Dane's job is to box out and occupy his man, and then everybody else has to clean it up. We've got to have – there's no reason – most people send their one-man back defensively. I mean, so a shot goes up there, one man gets back. So our one-man, Costal, or whoever's playing the one, should be able to clean up, and he did. He got 9 defensive boards. He got 10 rebounds for the game. But we got to have some perimeter presence rebounding the ball. We work every day. I would say that we work harder on boxing out than any team in the country. Now, does that mean that you're going to have instant success? Absolutely not. It means that if you don't do it, you will have no success. There's no givens in sports. If there was, it would be pretty boring. And so it's it's a game, and sometimes the ball bounces your way, and sometimes the ball bounces the other team's way. But you just got to make sure that you're doing whatever you can control to give yourself the best chance. And right now, we're 4-3. We're 2-1 in the league with the team that just lost C.J. Chaney and Max and Hunter Vick. So we're not where we want to be, but we could be in a lot worse shape than we are. So we're not going to cry about it. We're just going to go back to work, and that's what we did this week. This week has been a very difficult week. We've gotten better. Athletics is funny, and you talked about it to start, Drew. You know, what do you really want? You get your tail end whip. You need a cupcake, man. You need a cupcake on Friday night so you can get your confidence back and get going. That's not what sports gives you. It gives you the hardest possible situation to get out of, which is unbelievably great because you find out what you're made out of as a coach, as a player. I did the same thing. I reached out to Kelly Jolly Harper the other night. I'm a big fan of Kelly's, and she comes down and gets beat by Middle Tennessee with the Lady Vols. And, you know, this is when you find out what you're made out of. Kelly's a fighter at Tennessee. She's always been. And this is the times where you find out when you're Coach Saban in Alabama football and you barely beat South Florida and everybody's calling for your head. What do? Most kids and most people don't have to go through that on a daily basis. That's why athletes are different, and that's why they can kind of handle things more later on in life, and that's what we're supposed to be teaching these kids anyway.
Well, Coach, what does Lee have? I mean, Lee comes in defensively
5-0,
one of the top teams in the country.
Thanks, Drew. Drew, we didn't need that 5-0 comment. But go ahead, Scott.
Hey,
motivation.
You do realize when he said he was listening to the interview in the car, he was in the gym on. He
saw me sitting there under the basket. I know he did.
And
listen, that's why we don't appreciate whenever Drew shows up to a game, we're screwed, and we all know that. So, Drew, if you'll just watch us online, we really appreciate it. Or listen to Scott and Steve, we really appreciate it. I saw your outfit; looked like you were an Alabama fan. So go on, Scott. I'm sorry that Drew interrupted.
That's okay. So Lee comes in. West Alabama came in defensively with some great resume numbers, and they did a great job holding the UAH offense in check. Lee comes in the same way. Defensively, they only are allowing over like 60-some points. How do you guys attack Lee tonight?
Well, it's similar to West Al. Now, remember, all right, so look at the West Al game. They were averaging giving up 55 points a game. We scored 69 points against them. We missed 5 layups. So, I mean, it looks, the final score, it's a 5-point game with 7 to play, all right? We missed 5 layups in that game. Not really highly contested layups, but just layups that we need to be making on the college level. And we gave up 17 points on goofiness, dealing with some zones, like goofy situations. We gave up 17 points. That's a 29-point swing right there in their favor. So, I mean, you make 5 layups, you scored 79 points. You stop 2 threes on some goofiness and some zone, you win the basketball game. It's not you're never as bad as you think you are. You're never as good as you think you are. We're not far off. We just got to take care of some goofy plays on the defensive end and make sure that, listen, if you're recruited here to play offense, you better be good at offense. And we're not far off. We scored 79 points against West Al with making 5 layups, and we had a great day offensively. So we're not far off. But, West Al hangs their hat on pace of play and guarding people. And when they get up on you, they just grind that clock out, and they make a shot at the end of the shot clock, or they get an offensive board, and it's just demoralizing for you. Lee is really good defensively. They've always been good defensively. They've played 4 home games. They've played 4 home games. They didn't play a crossover. They played 4 home games, and they played at Montevallo. They're 5-0. We've already been through the wars. That's why we play Nova. That's why we play LMU. and we've already played West Al. We are battle tested, and it feels like it's in the middle of February right now. That's good to a certain point. I think that's, just to be honest, that's why we have a very realistic view of ourselves.
And then, Coach, to get a big road win like this over Lee, what does your team need to do? Is it simply with improving on the defensive end and rebounding, or is there more to it?
Yeah, there's always more to it on the road. We've got to show just amazing toughness, mental toughness. We are 2-0 on the road in true road games. We're 2-0 on the road. If you can win on the road in college basketball, you're really kind of doing something. You know, like I just was looking at Duke's stuff earlier today. Duke is 5-3. They were preseason 1 in the country. They go to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's at the bottom of the league, and they get beat. Winning true road games are hard. I mean, Auburn's got a pretty good team, do they not?
Yes.
Yeah.
They went to Appalachian State. Appalachian's a mid-major program. They went to Appalachian and got beat. Winning true road games in college basketball is, I think, the most difficult thing to do. And we're 2-0 on the road. That tells me we do have some toughness with our team. And it just tells me that it's still December I don't even know, is it the 8th today? It's December the 8th, and
yes.
It's still early in the season. Most people in league play start January. We're already midway through our league, and it is what it is. So you're going to have to go through some battles and some bumps and some bruises to get to the finish line. Whatever don't kill you makes you stronger. We'll be stronger for it. We'll be stronger tomorrow coming out of Lee tonight, no matter what happens tonight.
Yeah, they don't like us very, very well over there either.
Well, they said they didn't like you and Steve. They liked me and our team. I mean, we went up there last year and gave them a virus. Remember last year we gave them an L and a virus in the same day. We were all sick up there last year. But they do like us a little bit. Talk about you and Steve. I'm not sure about that. I'll try to get you through the back door, Scott. Is that cool?
I think I'll be fine.
You think?
I think so.
All right. Well, sounds good. I just hope our team. No, we're Friday night tough. You know, it's weird preseason before Christmas playing Friday, Sunday games in league, and then it turns after Christmas to Thursday, Saturday. It's unique playing a Friday league game. It's unique playing a Sunday afternoon game. But everybody's got to do it, so we just got to find a way. We just got to go on the road. We got to improve from the things that we screwed up on last Sunday and just keep on getting better. It's still a tournament sport. Last time I checked, you still remember my days at Chattanooga, there was only one team going to the NCAA tournament. So you better be good in February, and I think we're 30, maybe 38-9 the last 4 years in February and March. 38-9. I'm not going to tell you our record has been great in November and December. We're 38-9 when it counts, and that's what we're heading towards.
Well, John Shulman understands that process, getting better, and hopefully they're going to take that first step tonight on the road at Lee. And then, of course, as we know, the road trip continues on Sunday. Well, Coach, we always appreciate the time. Thank you for it, and safe travels, and hoping for a win tonight.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate what y'all do for North Alabama and Huntsville. And remember, Drew, next home game, we'll see you online. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all be good. Take care.
All right, see you.
I figured that was coming.
By the way, Lee still has Noah Bowler Kyle.
Yeah, from Decatur Heritage.
Yep.
Yeah, Noah Bowler, yep.
Noah Bowler. He's going by Noah Bowler Kyle now.
Noah Bowler Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Steve's got to get that one down.
Uh-oh.
Got to get a break in. When we come back, phone lines are open to you. Hey, in fact, you know what? The rest of the show, phone lines are open to you. We got topics.
And we know they're going to eat good on Sunday because Stevie and Scott are going to shorter.
It down.
Yeah, man. They're fixing to eat great.
I'm going to eat a cow.
Wow.
I'm going to compete.
Yes. Try to eat that 40 ounce. Compete.
I'm going to compete. Let's get a break in.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They've sent 3 HIMSI units to that wreck at Drake and Patton right outside Gate 8 headed into Redstone. That one had an overturned vehicle, and it sounds like about 7 injuries involved in that one. Knox Creek and Willow Bluff reported as an injury-type wreck, and Maston Lake and Blue Spring had injury, but it should be about ready to clear. The end of the year's coming. If you need temp admin or accounting help for special projects, Snelling can help. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If you need masonry, brick, stone, or block work, Eagle should be your first call. They can even help if your property needs grading, erosion control, and Eagle can handle dirt haul-off. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. And we continue on with the show. Some transfer portal news to hit on real fast. Alabama wide receiver Ja'Cory Brooks is...
This is a name we've even talked about on the show.
Right. Going into the transfer portal for Alabama, wide receiver. Now, what I found interesting was, and I did not do the research on this, so I cannot take credit for it, but I will mention it, that every one of Alabama's wide receivers in the class of 2020 and 2021 have ended up transferring. Trayshawn Holden.
Couldn't play dead in the B Western.
Javon Baker.
He was his own worst enemy.
Jones Bell. What is it?
Stayed hurt.
Yep.
Had a medical situation.
Ajay Hall.
We all know what I think of Ajay Moron.
JoJo Earl.
He was just never what he was hyped up to be. He didn't do anything at TCU.
And Christian Leary.
He made one catch for Georgia Tech. Most of these guys ended up not being as good as they were hyped up to be. Ja'Cory's actually a quality player, though. I think
he had a decent 2022 season.
He did, and he had a good end to his freshman year. For whatever reason, he got off on the wrong foot, during fall camp this year. And I believe he fell down the depth chart for an off-the-field situation. Then when he got back on the field, he had some drops early, Scott, and then got hurt. He never could. It was like he was climbing uphill the whole time. He just could never get back on the field and become a consistent part of the rotation. And he's hurt right now. And that's what And that's why I thought there was a chance this could happen. I did mention it because people always mention candidates for going in the transfer portal, because this dude's got 10 touchdowns on his resume. He's got just under 1,000 yards receiving. He's a good player.
674 yards and 8 touchdowns in 2022.
He did. He is a good player. And his highlight this year, he blocked a punt. He's a good special teams player. Somebody is going to get a good player in Ja'Cory Brooks if he's healthy. I really believe that. Unlike Jai Moron, and Christian Leary and JoJo, Drop and all these other guys you just mentioned, none of them were very good. Okay, I'll just be honest. That's a great point. They didn't compete. And, especially a Jai Moron. I mean, he put up a picture of Michael Jordan, and then he goes out there and he can't catch the ball in the national championship game. So, I mean, and I don't even know where he is now. I mean, he didn't even do anything at Texas. And I checked JoJo Earl's stats at TCU, made a few plays early, hadn't done anything. Leary made the huge catch against Miami, but he really hasn't done a lot. So, again, most of these guys that have left the program have not done very much. I think overall what you see in that wide receiver class is it just wasn't as good. It wasn't very good. I think the last couple have been better. But, again, it just shows you how transient college football can be. But, again, good luck to Ja'Cory Brooks. I do think he's a quality young man. I really do. I hope he gets healthy. I hope he can get his head screwed on again. I don't think he was a problem kid. I just think he ran into some issues during fall camp that he tried to handle. And any other time he would have got over the hump. But I think, he dropped a couple passes, maybe got into the doghouse a little bit with the coaching staff. And then you had other guys step up. Like Burton was much better this year, a big play guy, led the SEC basically in yards per catch. Then you had Kobe Prentice make some plays early. He's been pretty decent, pretty good. And then you had Isaiah Bond, who developed over the season and came into his own.
Yeah.
And then Malik Benson. So there were some players there that Benson kind of took Ja'Cory's job, in my opinion, a little bit, because he became kind of that junkyard dog guy. So, again, I think Ja'Cory can play, and somebody's going to get a quality receiver, and it'll be interesting to see, where he ends up.
I don't think Ajay Hall played at all this year. I
Probably
don't think
not.
he was on a roster. All right, Pat from Tuscaloosa with us real fast. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, guys. Hey, I want to get Drew to help me read the tea leaves. That Drew, hey, Scott, you got to realize, sitting beside you, you have the most prolific recruiting specialist that doesn't get paid to be a recruiting specialist, and he's forgot more about recruiting than the rest of the country knows. In one Drew DeArmond. Drew, I want to talk about this morning these tea leaves with Ja'Cory Brooks moving on to greener pastures. Does that mean that Ryan Williams will announce Sunday or Saturday that he is going to be in the 2024 class and at the University of Alabama? And my next question, does that mean that Evans is going to be coming to Alabama Stewart from Texas A&M? Is that right?
Oh, you talking about Evan Stewart?
Yeah.
Well, I still think Alabama is going to be heavily involved in that situation. He hasn't really I don't even know if he's officially entered the portal, because Walter Nolan has, and Walter Nolan is going to visit Oregon. I'm not sure yet that Alabama's involved with Walter Nolan, because that was a circus the first time around that Nick Saban, while Walter Nolan did visit campus, Alabama did not, continue the process and take that to the end because of his recruitment was crazy. He ended up at Texas A&M. I think he played at 3 different high schools. He was in like Olive Branch, Mississippi. Then he ended up in Knoxville, Tennessee. I mean, he moved all over the place. But I think with Stewart, if he officially enters the portal, I do think Alabama would be heavily involved with him, because they're going to lose, Jermaine Burton after this year. Now, I do think that Ryan Williams is going to announce he's reclassifying on December 10th. This will be on Sunday. He's playing his final, my opinion, will be his final high school game tonight, Scott, against Clay Chalkville for Saraland. This has just been in the mix for a while. He's the reigning Mr. Football. He won it as a sophomore, first time ever. We'll see what happens this year. Certainly he's had another great year for Saraland. They're trying to win back-to-back 6A state titles and go undefeated this year. Very difficult to do. But again, we'll see. That Clay Chalkville game is against the unbeaten Clay Chalkville Cougars and Jalen Mbakwe, who's headed to Alabama. So I do think he's going to reclassify. I do think he's going to be in the 24 class with Alabama. And as you know, they've got Rico Scott from Pennsylvania, who's a kind of a Debo Samuel type path. They also have Amari Jefferson, who I believe he may have won Mr. Football, at least in the private school. Because remember, in Tennessee, they have a separate private school and a separate, public school.
That's a novel idea.
Yeah, and Amari Jefferson had a monster year for Baylor. I believe they lost in the state championship game, but he had like 1,400 yards, 20 touchdowns for them. He's been a long-time commit. He was a former Tennessee baseball commit before he realized that he wanted to concentrate on football and had a bright future there. So, again, I think Alabama's in great shape for, Ryan Williams. We'll see on Evan Stewart, but all the intel says that there will be a lot of interest there. There was mutual interest in high school. Alabama definitely would have taken Stewart, but he took the money, and Dirt Neck almost ruined his career.
Gotcha. Drew, super job again. It's like I say, you are the best. Hey, y'all have a blessed weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. All right, let's stay out there. We have, is it Bob from, it's someone from Opelika.
Mike from Opelika. Mike from Opelika.
How are y'all doing?
Good, sir.
Drew, how surprised were you that offensive tackle from IMT chose Colorado?
I mean, surprised it ended up being Colorado. Mildly, yes. That it wasn't Alabama, no, because I think this was if you've ever been to one of those auctions you got the auctioneer just yelling and screaming and hollering and going to the highest bidder. That's basically what happened with this young man, this left tackle, because Alabama has a spot that is going to be open when J.C. Latham goes pro. He could have slipped right in and competed there, but I think I'll just be honest, with some of these young men, and it's more power to them, it's capitalism. But and the kid is supposed to be a great player, but I think with him, I think it was all about NIL, and Colorado needs offensive tackles. If anybody watched that Sad Sack program, and after all the give me my theme music and all the bluster and all the talk and all this, they stunk. And so they were 4-8. They need players.
But that gets you Sportsman of the Year, though.
Yeah, it gets you Sportsman of the Year by a woke. It's about as a woke publication that's about as irrelevant as Tim Brando.
And my second question, and this may be a dumb question, and I know it's about credit, but how does a kid reclassify? Do they take night classes, or? And I'll hang up and listen. I'm curious how a kid can do that.
Well, they do have to take on an increased course load, and you have to take summer school and things of that nature, Scott, I believe. I mean, you have to take advanced classes. That's the way you end up having to be able to graduate early, is you have to take a heavier course load, and it has to be advanced classes as well most times, because it's all about credits as well. You have to take a certain number of maths, a certain number of sciences, and things of that nature to graduate early. And at some schools, like Huntsville High was at Ramsey earlier this week, and Ramsey lost the state championship game last night in a heartbreaker to our good friend Mark Hudspeth and Gulf Shores. It was 21-14. Yeah,
did you see that state championship trophy presentation?
I saw it.
If you don't think that was awkward, I don't know what was.
Lord. But again, what happens in those situations is, as far as with the young men that have to take, they have to take advanced classes. They have to continue to take heavier course loads. And at some schools, though, like Ramsey, what I was going to say, QB Reese is committed to Alabama. His dad's Quentin Reese that played at Auburn. He had a really good second half last night, really good career. But from what I understand at Ramsey, it's a magnet school, very good academic school. that's in Birmingham, but you can't graduate early. I don't think you can do it. I think you have to finish your course loads. There's a certain way they set things up academically there, and just about all the kids that go there do well academically, but you can't graduate early and enroll early. So I'm just saying from QB Reese's perspective, he's going to end up playing now. He's going to transition to play for Denton Johnson and play for the Ramsey Rams outstanding basketball program that's competed in many Final Fours and for state championships. Right. You have to stay in school. So it sometimes depends on the school you're in as to whether you can graduate early. And
most public schools you can get through
do that,
easily.
But for example, like a school like Ramsey, you can't.
Right. All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we've got less than 30 minutes of our week left. We'll finish it off with some interesting things, I think, and then phone calls.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dorton Dressman. Cloud cover builds through the course of the afternoon, though temperatures are going to climb into the low 60s. We're dropping into the mid-50s as we head into the overnight, early into your Saturday morning. During that time period, we could get some isolated showers across the Tennessee Valley. The best chance for rain is going to come during the middle and later part of Saturday morning and then stick with us through the duration of Saturday afternoon. Temperatures on Saturday afternoon going to climb into the mid-60s. We're talking about the chance for some stronger thunderstorms as we head into the overnight, early into your Sunday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dorton Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
A wreck with an overturned vehicle, injury and entrapment at Drake and Patton just outside Gate 8. I think they took 7 people to the hospital from that one, so they may still be working to clear it. And we had a structure fire working on Cranston, that's off Old Monrovia, west of Providence, Maine, that may be there for quite a while doing their wrap-up. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Eck in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high? But so is average consumer debt. Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit northalabamamortgage.com for more information.
If you're the kind of value shopper who waits to the end of the year because you know that's when the deals are the best, it's here. And there's no first payment for 90 days. Hi folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford's Make the Holiday Bright sales event. And we've got the best selection of new and certified pre-owned Fords we've had in years. Right now, get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 72 months on 23 F-150s. America's best-selling truck for 47 years. 2.9 on F-150. And Woody Anderson Ford has over 100 F-150s to choose from. Great finance rates and no first payment for 90 days on all new Fords. We have financing as low as 1.9% for up to 60 months on 23 Explorer, Escape, and Bronco Sport 2. It's our year-end sales event, the best time of the year to buy, plus no first payment for 90 days. Your good credit through Ford Motor Credit. This offer ends December 30th. Come by and make your holidays bright at Woody Anderson Ford. We hope to see you soon.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
There you go. Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. So we've had a busy week. We've just had a lot of stuff to get through, and frankly,
we've been competing.
Yes, we have, and frankly, the whole 14 playoff stuff stolen the show.
It has.
So there's a lot of things that we hadn't even had a chance to mention because of all that, and we got the Ja'Cory Brooks thing out of the way in that last segment. But the other thing that we haven't got to mention is Coleman Hutzler leaving Alabama to become Mississippi State's defensive coordinator. We haven't even had a chance to touch on that.
Yeah, he's finalizing a deal. That's going to happen. It looks like he's going to be the DC. But I will say I got tipped off by my great source about Lebby being the front runner or one of them at Mississippi State. And we had Steve Robertson on to talk about that. But then he told me that he was hearing Lebby's name quite heavily associated with that. He just felt like if Lebby were hired, that Hutzler would be a part of that staff.
Because they've worked together back in the Ole Miss days in 2021.
So Hutzler is going to leave Alabama after 2 years to go to Mississippi State, to be the DC. So you can't blame him there. So that opens up a spot. Now, do I think Hutzler's going to stay through the process with Alabama? Yes, I do. I think, and usually, unless you're Lane Kiffin, that's what happens. But and again, people, Mark from Spring Hill keeps championing Lane Kiffin as the next coach at Alabama. He didn't resign. He got fired. Okay, you don't bow out of coaching in a national championship game and just decide to resign and concentrate on your new job. He got fired because he was an idiot, and so with attention deficit disorder that has a dog with an Instagram account. Okay, that's the reason Lane Kiffin wasn't at Alabama at the end, and probably cost Alabama a national championship, along with injuries to Sean Dion Hamilton and Eddie Jackson. But it certainly didn't help. But we know how good an OC Sark is when you only have a week. I mean, that right. Makes it very difficult.
Well, and Bo Scarborough going down in the national title
that's a great
game,
point too. He was off to an MVP start. He goes down.
When he comes back,
Bo was probably going to turn pro, honestly, if he hadn't gotten hurt. He ended up having to come back, and he was never the same.
And that left a bad taste. I know we're kind of veering off to the right here, but that's okay. That left a bad taste in Alabama's fans' mouths for Steve Sarkisian, because it was like, wait a minute, we go to the national title game, and it's like,
and that's why people were raising their eyebrows when he got rehired, but then you understand why. So he's a great offensive mind.
Right.
Again, Lane is still the only coach that hasn't finished the drill, and so I think Coleman Hutzler will finish the drill with Alabama. Certainly Nick Saban hasn't announced
the playoffs. That's the biggest, like you said, that's the biggest question. Does he stay through Alabama through the playoffs?
Beyond surprised if he does not, okay, because I think he'll stay, and he's gonna, and then we'll see the move Nick Saban makes after. But it continues a streak too, Scott. I mean, we know Nick Saban has been at Alabama for 17 years. He's still not going to bring back the same coaching staff. There's always changes. There's always guys moving up or down the ladder, depending on how you look at it. With Pete Golding, I threw a party last year when he went to Ole Miss.
You sent him a case of wild turkey,
basically.
Hutzler has been the outside linebackers coach, and don't forget, special teams coordinator.
Yeah, he was, yes.
And Will Reichard,
special teams player of the year.
Yeah.
NCAA. Dallas Turner, defensive player of the year. I'm sure Tim Brando will have a problem with that later when he can basically stop harping about the playoff, because I'm sure Dallas Turner didn't deserve to be defensive player of the year because he's a dirty player. I'm sure
And neither did Will Reichard. Will Reichard didn't either.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't. Now, if he had an LSU jersey on for Brando, it'd be fine. I mean, he ought to just spell his name Eaux. But of course, he's been criticizing the SEC as well, mainly because he doesn't do their games anymore because people thought he was a fraud.
And I think you mentioned this to me yesterday, but I did see it this morning, and it does go back to our Colorado conversation.
Yeah.
It's about who's leaving, not who's about coming. And Sal Sunseri, who Alabama
He gone.
fans know very well, he gone too.
He's reuniting with an old Pitt friend, and that's Biff Poggi, who has finished his first year at Charlotte. They went 3-9. It looks as though Sal Sunseri will leave the Colorado staff and get out of that purgatory and go to Charlotte. Now, it's not an easy job at Charlotte, under any circumstances, but
It's definitely not working in Colorado.
No, but it's not working in Colorado. I know they just bought an offensive tackle, and that's what they did with Jordan Seaton. They bought him. We'll see.
Come on. Deion says they don't buy players.
Right. Travis Hunter's the number 1 overall player in the country, and he wants to play at Jackson State for free. Right. Like Deion didn't have Under Armour give him a bunch of money under the table.
It's the food at the cafeteria that he liked.
Whatever. I mean, come on. I mean, that's –
he
look,
went there for the
I will say
academics.
this. What Deion's realizing is it's tougher to win in major college football. He did a great job in the SWAC. He turned Jackson State around completely. But this is big boy ball, man. And just because you're 2 or 3-0 doesn't mean you're going to be good. And they ended up, 1-7 in the Big 12 – in the Pac-12, the Pac-2. I'm sorry, but in the
Pac, whoever wants to show up.
They were 1-7, finished dead last in the Pac-12, and now they're going to the Big 12. So this is not, and the Big 12 is a pretty good conference in its own right. So I think he's realized he's making coaching changes. He's trying to continue to build up his roster. He needs to, because they weren't very good last year. I still think it's an embarrassment that he was Sportsman of the Year, because you don't give Sportsman of the Year to somebody that went 4-8. I mean, I know he energized Colorado, and it was an improvement over 1-11, but that's not Sportsman of the Year. Okay, I mean, maybe I still think it's a guy like Nikola Jokic, who led a franchise who had never won anything to a championship ever, and they weren't even favored to. It's not like they had gone out in free agency and got LaDum James, and then everybody, said they were going to win a championship. Because if LaDum had gone to Denver, then LaDum would probably be the Sportsman of the Year, because he would have brought Denver their first championship. I mean, that's how stupid sports is right now. I mean, there's no way that Deion, he's done a lot to bring a positive spotlight to Colorado. Yeah. He has brought energy, but that doesn't mean you should be Sportsman of the Year when you go 4-8. When you're giving somebody Sportsman of the Year for going 4-8, that's like when you elect this moron president that we've had for the last 4 years. Because people didn't like the other president because he spoke his mind. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo.
Let's get a break in. Final break. When we come back, phone calls are open, and your headlines will wrap us up on a Friday.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like they're going to do a full investigation into that wreck at Drake and Patton. It's actually south of the intersection. One of the injuries sounds like it may be a possible life-threatening injury, so HPD will do a full investigation there. I'd expect that Patton south of Drake's going to be closed for a while. And we got Cranston off Old Monrovia west of Providence, Maine. Had a structure fire there that had an injury involved, so I'm sure they'll do a full investigation on that one as well. You get 2 pieces of hand-breaded, juicy, tender signature chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-306-8158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-306-8158. That's 800-306-8158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-306-8158. Again, 800-306-8158.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is "We show up." Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Rambo Marine in Hazel Green is your one-stop shop for all things boating. Whether you are ready to surf with the newest Malibu wake boat or cruise on a Cobalt or Barletta pontoon, we have a boat ready for you and your family. Rambo Marine provides exceptional service second to none, so that you are ready to hit the water in no time. Stop by Rambo Marine today. We know boats.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Tellurides, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
State high school football playoffs will roll on today.
Yep.
You got your 2-4-6.
I think it's 4-2-6, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But the 2-4-6.
That's right.
They'll all play, and they wrap it up with the 6A game, which we thought the 6A game would be the most entertaining game of the whole entire.
And it still might be, but
last night, the two after the Madison Academy game
went down to the wire.
Were both
man.
good.
Yeah, they were. I mean, we were there for the 55-28 Mobile Christian win over our Mustangs. But then, as Scott said, Leroy repeated as 1A champ. They did it over Coosa Christian, and Leroy's coach. That's a great story there.
That is a fantastic story. If you've not heard that one, Leroy's head coach was deployed 4 weeks into the season.
That's correct.
To go overseas. The defensive coordinator became the interim head coach.
And did a great job.
And they go on to win the 1A title.
And you heard Pat talk about how the way they gut checked, they had to beat a really good Elba team in the semifinals last week. So they win it. And then last night, Mark Hudspeth, Gulf Shores, they make history. They go undefeated. They win it 21-14 over the defending 5A champion Ramsey Rams.
And I tell you what, if you've not watched the trophy celebration of that one,
right,
you've got to watch it because – so Alvin Briggs, our good friend Alvin Briggs, by the way, which I saw him down there, and he was like dressed to the nines yesterday. So I was
and I wondered if Simone Eli would be down there shooting some coverage.
I gave him a hard time because I was like, man, you looking fresh. But anyway, the executive director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association,
good
of course,
Coach
everything
Briggs,
that's going on with Gulf Shores and the allegations and everything, Mark Hudspeth had to get the trophy and the special game ball. And he goes up afterwards to try to just shake hands with Alvin Briggs, and Alvin's just like shakes his head and stuff. So I mean, it was a little chilly there inside the stadium because of the temperature, but that trophy celebration was a little chillier.
Yeah, and again, it's been well documented. The coverage down there, and Simone Eli with the affiliate down there in Mobile, they had done that investigation of Gulf Shores, of the Ronnie Royal situation, and who was MVP last night?
Ronnie Royal,
great player,
great one-handed interception.
It reminded me of watching Kerryon Johnson back in the day. That's what I posted on my X account. He had a one-handed interception, he had 188 yards rushing, and a couple touchdowns. He was unbelievable. Gulf Shores goes undefeated and wins it. And now today we've got the 4A Cherokee County Center back in the 4A finals. They're going to take on Montgomery Catholic. And then Death Taxes and the Fife Red Devils. Coach Paul Benfield going for championship number 6. They take on Reeltown. And, of course, tonight, Clay Chalkville, Saraland, some great matchups, some great coverage from the Super 7 in Tuscaloosa, but also great high school basketball tonight because Buckhorn's going to be on the airwaves tonight over at the Bucks Palace over there in Buckhorn. And, Bandy, who do they have tonight? They have city rival Columbia, the city school, Columbia Eagles, and the Huntsville High. This is going to be the best game in the state tonight, in my opinion, basketball-wise. Huntsville High, number 2 in 7A, ranked 36th in the country. Number 15 in the country, Hoover, the defending 7A champion, 9-0. Huntsville High, 11-1. Get there early over at Huntsville High's Gymnasium. Hoover and Huntsville are going to hook up tonight. Some great high school basketball as well. So a lot going on in our community.
What is it, City of Palms? Is that a tournament down
Yes.
there in Florida? Yeah,
Yes.
their executive director is going to be in attendance tonight at that game.
Donnie
in
Wilkie,
Huntsville.
and he had a lot to do with Huntsville playing Montverde. He is a very connected basketball mind.
Yeah, he's
and
coming up here to watch that game.
That'll be awesome to have him in the house.
I'm pretty sure.
He is if Donnie's there, then you know you got a game that really matters in high school basketball because he's also got and they have a different levels of the City of Palms. Buckhorn will be going to the City of Palms because of Caleb Holt. So Donnie Wilkie, I wouldn't be surprised if Donnie comes to the Huntsville Hoover game for part of it, and then he moseys on over to Buckhorn to catch up with Coach Harding as well. So Donnie's always on the road. He loves high school basketball, and he actually had a few years ago when Huntsville went to Ramsey and lost a heartbreaker with when they had Keyshawn Murphy, who's at Mississippi State. Donnie was in attendance for that game. So he is everywhere, and he's one of the most well-respected basketball minds in the United States.
Yeah, so I thought he said that he would put out that he was going to be.
I hope he's there. It'd be great to have Donnie in the house, man. But
yeah.
If you want to see some high-quality basketball, come out to Huntsville High tonight. Huntsville High taking on the Hoover Buccaneers, the number 1 and number 2 teams in 7A. Huntsville's played a very difficult schedule. Hoover is outstanding. They're the defending 7A champions. It'll be a great game.
He says, I'll be in Huntsville on Friday night for the biggest home game in Huntsville Panther history against Hoover. So, yes, he will be in attendance. All right, that's going to do it. Hey, don't forget, wake up with us tomorrow, 9:30 to 11:30, University Kia. We'll be there getting you ready for Alabama basketball north of the
Alabama
border.
and Purdue, north of the border.
Tim Hortons.
Yeah. With Roger Hoover and Brian Pasick because Chris Stewart couldn't get out of here because of the late passport.
He didn't get his passport in time because he was busy selling T-shirts.
But it's a cool T-shirt. Let's get out of here.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 30